New Jersey has a tenant protective late fee framework shaped by strong statutory provisions, active case law, and an enforcement culture that scrutinizes landlord fee practices. The governing law is found in the New Jersey Landlord Tenant statutes, primarily New Jersey Statutes Title 2A, Chapter 42, along with the Truth in Renting Act, the Consumer Fraud Act, and significant case law. If you're a landlord or tenant in New Jersey, the late fee rules are well established and the penalties for noncompliance are real. Let's start with the key rule. New Jersey requires that late fees be reasonable. While there is no specific statutory dollar cap or percentage cap written into a single statute, New Jersey courts have developed a clear body of case law establishing what reasonable means, and it's more restrictive than many landlords expect. The leading case on late fees in New Jersey is MetLife Capital Financial Corporation v. Washington Avenue Associates, along with subsequent case law that has refined the standard. New Jersey courts have consistently held that a late fee must bear a reasonable relationship to the landlord's actual costs of processing a late payment, not the amount of rent. The fee must compensate the landlord for actual administrative damages, not punish the tenant for late payment. New Jersey courts have generally approved late fees in the range of 5 to 6% of the monthly rent, or reasonable flat fees that correspond to documented administrative costs. Fees approaching or exceeding 10% have been struck down as unreasonable. The New Jersey standard is more restrictive than states that cap at 10%, because the courts evaluate reasonableness based on actual costs rather than simply imposing a percentage ceiling. New Jersey mandates a grace period by statute. Under New Jersey Statutes Section 2A, 42, 6.1, the landlord must provide a 5-day grace period before imposing any late fee. If rent is due on the 1st, the late fee cannot be charged until the 7th. The 5-day grace period is mandatory and cannot be shortened by the lease. The Truth in Renting Act, administered by the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, provides additional regulatory guidance. The Act requires that lease terms be clearly stated and not deceptive. Late fee provisions that are unclear, buried in fine print, or inconsistent with the statutory requirements can be challenged under the Act. The Department of Community Affairs publishes a Truth in Renting Guide that includes information about late fee limitations. New Jersey's Consumer Fraud Act provides a powerful additional enforcement mechanism. The Act prohibits unconscionable business practices, and systematic overcharging of late fees can constitute an unconscionable practice. The Consumer Fraud Act provides for treble damages, attorney's fees, and costs, making it a significant weapon for tenants who challenge excessive late fees. A $50 overcharge that triggers treble damages becomes $150 plus the tenant's attorney's fees, which is a meaningful financial exposure. The lease must clearly state the late fee terms. New Jersey courts require that the fee amount, the grace period, and the conditions for imposing the fee be documented in the rental agreement. A late fee that isn't specified in the lease is not enforceable. Compounding late fees in New Jersey face heightened scrutiny under the reasonableness standard. A single one-time fee after the grace period is the safest approach. Daily or weekly compounding charges that accumulate beyond the landlord's actual administrative costs are likely to be struck down. Most New Jersey landlords use a single flat fee, typically in the range of $25 to $75 depending on the rent level, to avoid compounding complications. The interaction between late fees and the eviction process in New Jersey is complex, because New Jersey has one of the most detailed eviction frameworks in the country. New Jersey requires that eviction for non-payment be filed through the special civil part of the Superior Court. The landlord must file a complaint and summons, and the amount demanded must be accurate. New Jersey also has a specific provision regarding the tenant's right to pay and stay. Under the Anti-Eviction Act, a residential tenant can stop an eviction for non-payment by paying the full amount owed, including rent and compliant late fees, up until the time of the court hearing. The amount needed to cure must be calculated correctly. Non-compliant late fees included in the cure amount give the tenant grounds to challenge the calculation and delay the proceedings. New Jersey's Anti-Eviction Act provides just cause eviction protection for most residential tenants. Landlords can only evict for specific reasons enumerated in the statute, non-payment being one of them. The just cause framework means that the eviction process is closely scrutinized at every stage, including the accuracy of the amount demanded and the compliance of any late fees. New Jersey's rent control environment adds another layer. Numerous New Jersey municipalities have enacted local rent control ordinances, including Newark, Jersey City, Hoboken, Elizabeth, Trenton, Paterson, East Orange, and many others. For rent-controlled units, the late fee must be calculated based on the controlled rent, not any theoretical market rate. Local rent control boards may have additional rules about fees. Jersey City's recent tenant protection ordinances have been among the most expansive in the state, including provisions that may affect late fee administration. Landlords in Jersey City should verify current local requirements. Newark's rent control ordinance and tenant protections similarly create a more regulated environment. Hoboken has a significant rent-controlled housing stock, and Hoboken's rent leveling and stabilization ordinance may impose additional constraints. Landlords in Hoboken should confirm that their late fee provisions comply with both state law and the local ordinance. For tenants receiving housing choice voucher assistance, common in New Jersey's urban areas, landlords cannot charge late fees when the housing authority's portion is delayed. New Jersey prohibits source of income discrimination under the law against discrimination, meaning landlords cannot discriminate against voucher holders. Penalizing a voucher tenant for the authority's processing delay creates both a late fee violation and a potential discrimination claim under one of the strongest anti-discrimination statutes in the country. New Jersey's law against discrimination is one of the broadest anti-discrimination statutes in the nation, covering more protected categories than the Federal Fair Housing Act. Selective enforcement of late fees against tenants in protected categories creates significant legal exposure. New Jersey limits the security deposit to 1.5 months' rent. The deposit must be held in an interest-bearing account, and the landlord must pay annual interest to the tenant. The deposit must be returned within 30 days with an itemized statement of deductions. Unpaid compliant late fees can be deducted, but the deduction must be properly itemized. Failure to return the deposit within 30 days can result in the tenant recovering double the amount wrongfully withheld, plus attorney's fees. New Jersey's military population is limited. Joint Base, McGuire-Dix Lakehurst in Burlington County, is the primary installation. SCRA protections apply to active duty service members renting in New Jersey. From a practical standpoint, New Jersey has one of the most expensive rental markets in the country, driven by proximity to New York City and Philadelphia. The Gold Coast, Jersey City, Hoboken, Weehawken has some of the highest rents in the state, driven by Manhattan commuters. Rents commonly range from $2,500 to $4,000. Even at a conservative 5%, a late fee on these rents would be $125 to $200. However, New Jersey courts evaluate reasonableness based on actual costs, not just a percentage. A $200 late fee must be supportable by $200 in documented costs, which is a high bar. Most Gold Coast landlords charge flat fees of $50 to $75 regardless of the rent level. Newark has a diverse market with significant rent-controlled housing. Late fee enforcement in Newark must comply with both state law and the local rent control ordinance. The active tenant advocacy community in Newark, including Legal Services of New Jersey and local legal aid organizations, regularly assists tenants who challenge excessive fees. The suburban markets, Bergen County, Essex County, Morris County, Monmouth County, have expensive rents driven by excellent school systems and New York commuter access. Late fee practices in these suburbs follow the state framework, reasonable flat fees with 5-day grace periods. Trenton, the state capital, has a more affordable market with rent control. New Brunswick, home to Rutgers, has a student-influenced market. Princeton and its surrounding communities have a premium market driven by the university and pharmaceutical industry. The Jersey Shore communities have seasonal dynamics. Summer rentals operate under different rules than year-round tenancies. Late fee provisions in seasonal leases should be specifically drafted for the seasonal context. South Jersey, Camden, Gloucester County, Burlington County, has more moderate rents influenced by proximity to Philadelphia. Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst generates military demand in the Burlington County area. One best practice for New Jersey landlords: set your late fee based on your actual documented administrative costs, not a percentage of rent. New Jersey courts evaluate reasonableness based on costs, not percentages. If your documented cost for processing a late payment is $35 to $50, in staff time, system processing, late notices, and bank fees, a fee in that range is defensible. A $100 fee requires $100 in documented costs. Another best practice: determine whether your property is in a municipality with rent control or local tenant protections that add requirements beyond state law. Build your late fee provision around the most restrictive applicable requirements. A provision that complies with Newark's or Jersey City's local rules will also comply with state law. A third best practice: never include non-compliant late fees in an eviction filing. New Jersey's court system scrutinizes eviction proceedings carefully, particularly in the urban courts where tenant representation is common. An inflated demand that includes excessive late fees gives the tenant's attorney an easy target. Calculate the amount owed accurately, include only compliant fees, and present a clean case. For the complete guide to New Jersey late fee laws, visit tenantscreeningbackgroundcheck.com. Subscribe to our channel for every state in our late fee law series.